keep it alive through these lines I write. I keep it live cause I thrive. I might just blow your mind tonight. I'm so hyped, but it's no hype. From this height, it's direct hits on sight. I'm your type, lend me your ears to show you that there's something in me. I'm not giving up, I'm standing right here, holding these days hostage. And I'll make this my year. We turning fear into love, and the love's in the air. I love doing this cause nothing compares. Nothing can share that same type of feeling when you feeling and flare. They can't catch it, it's havoc. I rip to a tear, switch a scenario on stereos, I leave them impaired. Variables start to change and they're all in my range. I just gotta grab it, it's all mathematics. Every step is drastic, I make it fantastic. I'm trying to take your breath away. Asthmatic.
This is live through the stereo. Go and let it blow, blow through the stereo. I'ma let them know through the stereo. Yo, here we go through the stereo, stereo. This is live through the stereo. Go and let it blow, blow through the stereo. I'ma let them know through the stereo. Yo, here we go through the stereo, stereo.
Yeah, just nod your head with it. So explicit and vivid. Every image is intricate, intimate. I put my all into it. No scrimmage and no rules. I'm a pro tool. Hear my heartbeat, beat into the vocals. I'm so loco, lost my mind, oh no. It's ponderoso, dope, so no overdose, cause it's dope, yo. Man, this is house grown, mixed with some milestones. So I let the style flow down like the Dow Jones. Bringing it with some foul tones, letting the crowd know we getting loud, so it's eardrum rudiments. Yeah, we bring it rude again. Move, little hooligan. Music for tuning in, full time to the 10. I'm on my clock like I told you. I'm doing this for dreams
we pursuing. Thank you all for tuning in. Anti-Media Radio, once again with your host Nick Bernabe here on UCY.tv and the antimedia.org/radio. Really happy to be back alive and well on this Monday, March 19th, 2018. What an extraordinary time to be alive. A lot of stuff going on. Lots and lots of news to cover. So we'll see what we can get through. You know, it's never enough time. 60 minutes is never enough time to get through all this stuff. But we'll do what we can. A lot of ground to cover, and just, you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see where we get. And we'll go from there. I want to do a quick shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. Huge thank you for supporting us. And you know, we're dealing with a lot of headwinds, I guess you could say, trying to keep this anti-media movement going. A lot of weird stuff going on with the way that we reach people, and just all these companies who we relied on for a long time are just totally floundering, I guess you could say. And of course, Facebook is dealing with a huge amount of problems right now. We're going to talk about some of that stuff, and it really, to me, looks like they're getting ready to enter into a death spiral. I don't know if they're going to be able to turn this around or not. I don't see it happening. People are done. People are done. They're tired of it. Tired of Facebook.
But Nick, where there's a will, there's a war.
There you go. There's a new way of looking at it, right? All right, so let's get our panel going. My longtime co-host, DB Schwartz. What's up, bro?
Hey, man, just grinding harder than I've been doing in a long time. And I don't know, man. How about you? Probably the same. I think everybody's kind of in that wait and see mode.
I haven't worked this hard, I don't know, ever, maybe. I guess it depends on, you know, I used to work manual labor and stuff like that, and, you know, that's one type of work, less brain power, but a lot of physical, you know, labor, which is a big, you know, hard, tough work. But sitting here at a desk trying to think all fucking day, it's also hard work too, you know what I'm saying? You know, just reaching out, talking, networking like crazy, that's what I've been doing. And, you know, I'm a pretty good networker. That's really my big strength. That's what I brought to this company. I'm not a genius business guy. I mean, I've been a hustler my whole life, of course. All you guys that know me know I'm a hustler and stuff, but I'm not a business genius. I'm a better networker. I make friends quickly, and I'm able to recognize, you know, potential relationships and that kind of stuff. And so that's what I've been doing these last couple weeks, is just hitting hard on the networking, trying to keep our brand going and stuff like that. The Patreon stuff has been a huge lift for us. We've got like almost 200 supporters now, so that's really good. Huge help on that front. I haven't checked the recent supporters this week, but next show I'll be doing some shout outs by name of some of our big time supporters that have been helping us and stuff like that, and also to the people who are supporting us on Patreon that are above the tiers where you get stickers and shirts and stuff. I'm working on that stuff. We're going to have that stuff sent out before the end of the month. So you'll be getting some stickers. I already got some stickers here. We're going to make some cool I Love Anti-Media shirts and stuff. We already got them designed. I'm going to be shopping around for some suppliers locally here. Or maybe I should just have them made in China, right? Have them made in China, have them sent over here, get Trump's tariff. No, I'm just kidding.
Why don't you make them in Mexico? Can you do that?
Oh, yeah, I could do that, and then I could import them myself because I go down there so often. Stick them in my trunk, but they got the customs agents over there. They want to check through all your shit every time you cross the border. I'm not even playing, dude. They check my trunk every time, and they shuffle through your shit like
Well, just let a trucker come through with your shit then, but buy it over there instead of China.
Yeah. No, we got some good local t-shirt makers out here, dude. Like, I bought some shirts for my old business like 10 years ago, and they're still... like, the shirts are still good, so I'm probably gonna go back to that guy and have them made there. So, anyway,
amazing how well a product's made when there's no suicide nets.
Yeah. Also joining us tonight, our longtime co-host. Should we just start calling Jake Jake? You're basically a co-host, right? Longtime co-host and
you
awesome.
You can call me whatever you want, man.
Jake's a lot more than a co-host to me.
All right, motherfucker. No, I'm just kidding.
We take it there on Thursday nights, man. It's basically turned into sex chat between me and you.
Shit, dude. Does
well, it's that and our guests. Like, we had that guest we had on was just amazing.
I'll tell you what, though. Speaking of intimacy, I can't tell you how much physical pleasure I've gotten today from imagining Zuckerberg squirming in his fucking chair as the walls finally start to cave in on his empire of surveillance capitalism. It's a wonderful feeling, and this will be a long, slow, brutal death spiral. It'll take a while, but it's going to happen because look, he went through the meat grinder on this one. He's gotten away with it for like 10 years now. He's gotten people to gloss over and ignore these predatory data mining and all his bullshit, but he took on the one thing you can't do, man. He got Facebook associated with Trump's win. And if there's one thing we know about the media right now, no one was saying shit about, well, people were disparaging Facebook for a while, but the masses were not really catching on to how bad Facebook was until this new report showing that the data had been used by the Trump campaign and Flynn. And we don't even know the details of how bad it is yet, but right there, the cardinal sin, if you get yourself associated with Trump's win, you're going to go down. And this could be a big deal, dude. This could be a really big deal. And of course, should we preface what we're talking about for people who don't know?
Yeah, so we're talking about the Cambridge Analytica botched. I don't know how to describe this because, look, Facebook knew about this for 2 years, right? Facebook knew what was going on. They didn't take any action. They didn't make a public announcement. But basically, there's this company called Cambridge Analytica that I was just learning some more about. There's a great video on. You guys ever watch or see any content from Channel 4? It's a British news outlet called Channel 4, and it's kind of like a further
it's like
left.
A globalist shill factory.
No, I think Channel 4 is actually pretty good. It's kind of like I would say they kind of align more with like the Jeremy Corbyn type of people, the far left labor movement over in England, which would be more or less kind of like the Bernie Sanders people, but even further left. Anyway, I think it's generally a pretty good outlet. Of course, it's coming from you got to look at it as a lens of it's a very left-leaning outlet or whatever. But they actually, for some months, actually, I don't know how long it took them to gather up all this footage and stuff, but it looks like they were working on this for like 6 months or so. But they had like a guy that was pretending to be a potential client for Cambridge Analytica. Supposedly he was a politician from Sri Lanka who was acting like he was interested in their services, and they used a hidden camera and they had hidden audio and they captured all these conversations with these guys, and it's a very, very revealing interview. It's kind of a long little mini documentary. It's like 20 minutes long or something. I don't have the link, but I'm going to get it up on theantimedia.org, and once the show is over, I forgot to put it up there before the show. But anyway, part of these guys, first of all, they like we know now, they're data mining Facebook. They had like an app, and there's other ways that you could data mine. People sign up for your app. They give you permission so that you can make it as invasive as you want. When people sign up for apps, typically they don't bother even reading the fine print. I would say like 99.8% of people don't read the fine print. They just like, oh, there's a cool app. All right, cool. Sign up. Yeah, yes, I agree. Okay, cool. I got this cool app now. What you don't realize is that people like, Cambridge Analytica or any of these companies out there who make these apps gain access to like your most intimate details. They say, okay, we want your contact list. We want to be able to read your messages. We want to know who, they could basically gain access to whatever they want as long as it's in that fine print. Everybody fucking says, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I agree. Sign up. Okay, cool. So basically what I'm finding out about this company is they find out what scares people, right? They find out what scares the fuck out of people. And then they feed that information, intimate details to politicians, and then politicians go out there like Trump did. And, I had a feeling Trump was doing something like this because the stuff he would say, like it wasn't true, but it seems like it makes sense, right? It's like, oh, Mexico is taking our jobs, and China taking our jobs, and Muslims are dangerous and stuff. It's stuff that people that aren't like highly informed would be like, yeah, that does make sense, right? And I always thought that Trump would say shit, and then he would get like internal polling numbers back and see how it played, and then if it played well, he would just keep saying it. Like that's what I kind of thought Trump was doing during the campaign. Makes sense. But I think he probably did that too. But now we're finding out that he was getting this very intimate data from Cambridge Analytica, where they were digging down into into people's profiles and finding out their psychological fears, And so when Trump opened his campaign saying, Mexicans are bringing rapists and they're bringing drugs and crime across the border, Trump wasn't just pulling that off the top of his head. Trump was basing that on the deep-rooted fears that people have of Mexicans. And I hate to say this, and I made a long status about this, ironically, on Facebook, right? And this is something that I've definitely come to realize over time after Trump won and over the period of time between then and now. I realized that it's less about Trump being this like extraordinarily racist, xenophobic, warmongering, not giving a shit about civil rights and all that stuff. I think it's less about him being that guy and more about him understanding that that's the voting base that is going to vote for him are the people that feel that way. Do they think Mexicans are bad people? Yes. Do they think Muslims are inherently evil? Yes. Do they think that we need to build up borders? Do they think we need to build up tariffs on products because they don't quite understand really how economics work? Yes. Like all this stuff. Dude, like the tariffs, Tariffs are an extremely anti-Republican policy. Republicans are supposed to be against tariffs. But tariffs, when you ask the average person on the street, and I remember when I was younger, I used to think the same thing. yeah, why don't we tax that shit coming from China like high as fuck, and then we can make our American companies make that shit instead. Now, to someone who isn't well versed on the way that the economic systems work in this world, that makes a lot of sense. And, Trump is just preying off of the ignorance and the fears and the biases of the people in this country. It isn't Trump that's extraordinarily racist or xenophobic. This country is. And it's not everybody, of course. And out here in California, we're a little bit insulated from a lot of that just real weird, these fears that these guys have down in the South. I mean, Jake could probably tell us a little more of it, having lived down there. I don't think DB has ever lived down in that area. And I know I've been in California my whole life. It's a whole different world out here, and we're seeing that play out with California versus the United States of America right now. I mean, there's a big beef. There's a lot of tension right now between just California and the federal government. In fact, I just saw an article just a few minutes before we went live on the show about how a California politician is trying to raise taxes on any company that wants to help build the wall. And so of course that's a horrible. I mean,
that's not going to do good for their federal taxes now.
No. But I mean, it's a dumb idea. But still, at the same time, it's like, there's a rift right now between California and the rest of the country. And living in California, spending almost all of my whole life here, I feel a bit insulated when all this like police stuff started happening and the Black Lives Matter thing started happening. I couldn't believe that there was this much racism going on in this country. I guess I was insulated from it for my a lot of my life, and then realizing it, and then having Trump win, and realizing that a bunch of people who I thought I knew went and voted for Trump and stuff. I was like, whoa, what the fuck is going on here? This country is different than I thought it was. Under Obama, I had this impression, and then under Trump, I realized, holy shit, this ain't what this country is. I mean, Obama was, we all got kind of duped by all that. This is the real America here.
I don't know, man. I disagree. I think that's the real South.
Well, it's the people that vote enough to get these assholes in office.
It wasn't up here. I can promise you on that. So, I mean, it wasn't on the East Coast and it wasn't on the West Coast. So there you go.
I mean, it doesn't break down squarely to urban versus rural, but in general, metropolitan cities are more liberal and the more rural areas are more conservative. So
you can look at the Bible Belt as the place where they have the highest opioid addiction. They have the lowest overall cumulative IQs and the lowest college graduates. I mean, it goes hand in hand. You have stupid, druggy idiots. I mean, they're backwoods fucks. I mean, they exist everywhere, but they're a nation down there.
I'm not agreeing with anyone here. I don't think there is like one monolithic American identity. I think it's very
not at all.
Fragmented and at this point very distorted. And people, a lot of people that are conservative don't even really agree with a lot of conservative social policies, and a lot of people that are quote unquote liberal now don't agree with a lot of the neoliberal economic policies. So the very definitions of right versus left are being broken down. And I think we're facing an existential crisis just how many different bad players we have running the system right now.
Yeah, so trip out on this. I mean, the people who are supporting the tariffs are actually like the Bernie Sanders camp. And so this is again, Trump isn't playing straight to the quote unquote Republican conservative base. Trump has a different base than the typical conservative. Trump went for a working class base that does lean Republican, but a lot of Bernie people had crossover and voted for Trump secretly, like closeted Trump supporters, not Trump supporters, but closeted Trump voters that said, you know what, I ain't voting for Hillary, but at least I agree with Trump on a few issues. Totally disagree with Hillary on everything. And there was a lot of crossover. I know some people. I definitely know some people that did that. And you got the unions praising Trump on the tariffs and stuff. The unions are typically, that's the Democrats' bread and butter. The Democrats have kind of sold out the unions, and now the unions are kind of like looking for a new place to find their political support. And some of these guys are shifting over towards the direction of Trump, where it's like a protectionist, conservative, policy, I guess. I don't even know what to call it. Populist. And that's what Trump is doing. He's getting all that data from these guys who mined it off Facebook, and he's just running with it like that. Crossing lines, and doing his thing. Now, it's not only Trump. There's a story that we're loading up right now. It'll be up on the anti-media tomorrow morning. Obama's former campaign director says Facebook was on their side in 2012, and in fact found out that the Obama campaign was able to harvest literally all the data off of Facebook for everybody in the United States. And then at first, when Facebook found out, they were like a little bit, thrown back by it. And then they were like, but, we're going for you guys, so it's all good. And in fact, according to this woman, her name is Carol Davidson, appears pretty credible. I mean, she's given TED Talks and other things, claims that the Facebook staff actually went and visited with them and was like, wow, that's amazing. Show us how you did all this stuff. So, they're using big data, again, tapping in to the collective psyche of the people and using this stuff that, Facebook, Google, Twitter, to a lesser extent, all these big companies who we use their services. I guess Amazon probably to a lesser extent, but I think Google and Facebook are the two real big ones. They know you better than you know yourself. Like they know they know your subconscious fears and what gives you joy and what makes you happy and what makes you sad. They know all that stuff because that's how they make their money. It's like what we talked about. What was it last week, Jake? The surveillance capitalism, where that's how they make their money. They spy on everything you do so they can find out how to sell shit to you and take a cut of those sales. Now we found out they're also using it to sell us presidents. yeah, and now that we have this unscripted president where it wasn't supposed to be, right? It wasn't supposed to be Trump, and now that this same data that was used by Obama, and when Obama did it, Facebook was like, yeah, right on, dude. Like, we fucking love you guys. And then now that the people that helped Trump get elected did it, it's like, wait, hold on a second. We got to fucking put a stop to this shit, right? Now, this woman was public about this. This woman, Carol Davidson, had been public about this stuff for years, dude. Like, a couple of years. She's actually been giving TED Talks and posting about it, she was tweeting about it all day yesterday, basically, about how Facebook found out that they were doing basically the same thing, and then Facebook was supportive of it, and no one gave a shit about it. Like none of the media was like, oh my God, Obama tapped into the Facebook data and like totally figured out how to trick everyone into voting for him and shit. Nope, they didn't give a shit back then. But now we got Trump, who's this unscripted candidate who is just, it was supposed to be Hillary. And because of that, all these establishment types are totally freaking out. Now, not to say Trump is anti-establishment. Trump is, in some ways, he's actually more effective for the establishment because everyone's so obsessed with the shit that he says on Twitter that no one's looking at the fact that he's ramping up massive killings on our foreign policy, higher rates than we've seen since Bush. I mean, he's already surpassing the total amount of people killed under Obama. Trump is already surpassing them in the short amount of time that he's been in office. So, I mean, we're talking about a major distraction element with Trump, which in some ways is beneficial. On the other hand, of course, it's the unscripted, the fact that he wasn't supposed to win is why we're getting this huge backlash. And we're going on 2 years almost where, Trump has been elected for almost 2 years, and they're still like, oh my God, like, oh, Trump, Russia, Trump, Facebook, fake news, Trump, Russia. Like, they're still trying to grasp at the straws, and the tools that these guys created have been turned back against them, and they're trying to cope with it, and they're going to kill Facebook in the process. And so, I mean, that's just... I hate to be blunt like that, but that's pretty much where we're at. Facebook under so much pressure from the media to change and try to control the flow of information is committing suicide, right? The fact, and we've talked about this repeatedly, what they've done to us, restricting our information. We've been accused of being Russian operatives. We've been accused of taking our orders from the Kremlin. Putin is actually sleeping on my couch right now. Don't tell anybody that, but all jokes aside, we've been seriously accused of being useful idiots for the Kremlin, and therefore Facebook has restricted our ability to reach people. And under that pressure, under that mounting pressure for them to control the flow of information, only allow official narratives to perpetuate, Facebook is killing itself. And that's basically where we're at right now. And we're struggling to figure out, where's everyone going to go? I saw a bunch of people today on my own feed, like, all right, dudes, like, this is going to be the last time I'm on Facebook. I'm disabling my Facebook. You could find me here. You could find me on Steemit. You could find me on Snapchat, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, of course, Instagram is owned by Facebook. So if you're just like, fuck Facebook, I'm boycotting, I'm going to Instagram. Well, no, you're still on Facebook. But Snapchat is not owned by Facebook. Steemit, obviously. Twitter. A bunch of other options. It's tough for us. It's good for the state of the internet that Facebook is dying, because Facebook, having become, along with Google, is like a duopoly over the flow of information, especially in the United States. It's become very unhealthy because it gives Google and Facebook way too much power over everything that we're able to talk about or find. And like Jake, your article on conspiracy theories, we had an article on 10 conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. Used to be one of our biggest drivers of traffic from Google, right?
Dude, it used to be in the first 3 results that came up when you searched conspiracy theories. Now it's not even in the first 10 pages.
Exactly. Like, they literally say, okay, well, these sites don't puppet the fucking narrative. Push them all the way the fuck down so no one can find their shit. And so if you don't already know about us and you already come to our website to seek out this information, good luck fucking finding out about the anti-media at this point. Because Facebook and Google have a duopoly on that shit, and they take their fucking orders from the establishment and they push everyone else down. They've with their 2 hands, with the left hand of Google and the right hand of Facebook, they've fucking choked the internet. Literally choked off the internet. And they both need to die. At the same time, when those 2 companies get crushed like a fucking piece of glass and shattered everywhere, it's going to be great news for the internet, but it's going to be really tough because we're going to be like, well, what the fuck do we do next? How do we get people to see our content? Because they're not on Facebook, they're not on Google, they're on 1,000 different social networks. Well, how do we reach all 1,000 of those social networks? Well, that's the challenge that we're going to be having to deal with.
It's just so absurd, man. It's like people opted in, they elected to get updates from anti-media, and Facebook and Google arbitrarily decided to choke off that ability. They literally, it's unbelievable when you think about it like that. I mean, it's their right to do it because it's their proprietary network. But when you look at it like that, in that someone is elected to receive updates from Facebook, and Facebook is saying, no, you can't. We're saying you can't see that. I mean, that is just a deranged form of censorship there, man.
Yeah, dude. And then, now they have all this, quote unquote fact checking nonsense going on. I think I brought this up in a recent show, but there's there's that not Christian, but yeah, it's like a Christian satire site. It's called the Babylon Bee. I think I brought this up. They posted some ridiculous story that CNN bought a washing machine that they could put the news into it and spin it around before they report on it. Like, clearly a satire article. And fucking Snopes did a fact check on it and found that it was false. And then the Babylon Bee got a notification on Facebook that if they didn't, that the article was false and that it's been disputed by Snopes, and that if they are caught doing that again, they're going to have their reach and their monetization revoked, basically. And so, you got these hyperactive and I would say weaponized fact checking, where they pick and choose the stuff to fact check, which is where, everyone has a bias, right? And these fact checking sites expose their bias by what they choose to and choose not to fact check. And are they ever fact checking the claims of Syria using chemical weapons against its own people? No. Are they fact checking the claims of any accusations that are thrown against any of our supposed enemies around the world? No. All they fact check, not all, okay, but let's not overgeneralize here, but mostly what they do is establishment reinforcing fact checking, right? And some people say, oh, it's, Snopes is leftist and blah, blah, blah. No, Snopes is not leftist. Snopes is just statist. And it just, it fact checks to keep the narrative in check that the establishment wants. And now, literally, Facebook, if you're caught going against anything Snopes says, Facebook is going to fuck you in the ass harder than anything you've ever seen. And so, yeah, dude, I mean, it's just, we reached this point, and hopefully people will learn a lesson. I have a bad feeling that people aren't going to. But, let this be a lesson not to allow one or two companies to get a fucking monopoly over our information. The internet is supposed to be this democratized, decentralized network where everybody can have a voice, everybody can have an opinion, everybody can have a say, everybody can have a vote. Instead, it's like, yeah, everyone can say what they want as long as they say it through Facebook or Google, where Facebook or Google chooses what gets to be seen and what doesn't get to be seen. Fuck that shit. That's ridiculous. That's stupid. Like, these guys almost killed the internet. The biggest internet companies in this world almost killed the internet. This is our chance to kick Facebook while it's down, while they're in a fucking huddled mass. Like you said, it brings me joy to think about Zuckerberg right now squirming in his fucing $10,000 office chair.
And it's also the irony of it, which is that they're using the Russian narrative and the election narrative as an excuse to crack down on alternative media, but now that same narrative has come back to bite them in the ass.
Yeah, it's ironic, and they didn't see this coming. Maybe it's their deep learning AI machine over at Facebook realizing that Facebook is no good and their AI is self-sabotaging the company.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be awesome, dude.
Well, that's what I think AI would do. If I think it's what it will do when it comes alive, and who knows, maybe it is alive. I think it will work within the system to subtly manipulate the institutions. Instead of declaring outright war on humans, it's going to fuck shit up from the inside, man.
There you go. So DB, what do you think about all this, bro?
I don't know, dude. I mean, are we all moving in mass? Because it looks like Gab AI is seeing some cryptocurrency mutterings where they're going to fund themselves and they're going to have an ICO. So I think that would be probably groundbreaking. I mean, it really would. So.
Ooh, what ICO?
Gab.ai.
Oh, yeah. There's all kinds of AI coins.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's Twitter's death knell, and then Facebook's death knell is either MeWe or Minds or something. Something's going to come up to replace Facebook. Facebook's just generally becoming just for business now.
Yeah, and Minds is also launching its own crypto too, having an ICO sometime soon. So that'll be interesting. And
well, if people want to see change, you can put your money where your mouth is, and you don't have to worry about buying something weird like a stock that you don't understand.
Yeah. So yeah, dude. I mean, look, maybe this is the time for the internet. What are we on? 2.0, 3.0? I lose track.
2.0 is coming, right? Because that's when everything's peer-to-peer and it just bounces off, right?
Wait, I think we're in 2.0 now. I think it'll be 3.0 when it's augmented augmented reality stuff, or either augmented reality or Internet of Things. IoT is going to be one of the next big upgrades.
Okay, that brings up an interesting point, because considering what we've been talking about, Cambridge Analytica, how these fuckheads have been drilling into the data of Facebook, and I'm sure Google, I think Google is just way better at PR than Facebook is, because I'm sure Google has had all these kind of same mistakes and we just don't hear about it. But now that we know about all that, what about this? Okay, let's bring Amazon into this now. Amazon's Alexa, the smart home device that fucking talks back to you, and for all we know is basically listening to everything you're saying, right? And then Google has its home device. I can't remember the name of it. Wouldn't be surprised if Facebook tried to enter into that realm as well sometime soon. All the big data people are going to be trying to get in, try to get in. And then you got the Internet of Things, where they're making everything go on Wi-Fi, right? Like, I even see they got dildos coming out that's going to be Internet of Thing dildos, right? They got your computer, they got your refrigerator, they got your washing machine, your oven, your microwave, they got your watch, like everything's starting to connect. Your car, everything's connecting to the internet. And you look, you know, when you start drilling into, you know, who are the companies that are grabbing all that data? Well, same old suspects. You got Facebook, you got Google, you got Amazon. You got these big giant internet data companies that are consuming this, all this data. And let's face it, dude, these Amazon things, like I'm one of those people I remember when MySpace first came out, like, fuck that, I ain't getting on there. And then sooner or later, eventually, I'm like, all right, fine, I'll get one. I will not get a Amazon Alexa, dude. Like, that is just too fucking stupid. Like, it's too creepy to me. Like, I do not want to put a listening device right there inside my living room so it can just hear me talk about all the private shit that I don't want no one else, hearing me talk about. Privacy is important. Like, privacy is very important because it's you. It's your freedom to say stuff that you think. And if you got a listening device sitting in your living room, well, you're going to start self-censoring the shit you say. Or if you don't, you open yourself up for criminality or accusation, or this shit gets recorded, you say something, and then, some fucking nosy government agent's like, oh, that person's talking about something he shouldn't be talking about. He may be a drug dealer. Send in the executioner. This Internet of Things is interesting. Like, I could see the use of having a watch that connects to the internet, and maybe a refrigerator that would tell you when your milk was going bad. I mean, I don't know what all this. I'm not huge on that stuff. I know I got some people that I know that have the smart watches and do all the IoT stuff, but I don't know too much about it. But it just seems like if it was being done benevolently, it'd be one thing. If we're putting Google and Facebook in charge of this stuff, it's a whole nother fucking problem. And the Alexa thing, Amazon is consuming every retailer. I mean, Toys R Us just went out of business. You put that shit in your living room, and they're just gonna, Amazon's gonna listen to everything you have to say, and then it's just gonna sell you stuff. That's what's gonna happen. And then it's gonna sell you stuff, and then it's gonna turn you into a product and sell that, and then it's gonna work whenever the government needs anything from them. Hey, what's Nick Bernabe been talking about in his living room? We have reason to believe that he's up to suspicious activity. Oh, yeah, sure. Give me like literally 2 seconds, and let me give you the last 2 weeks of all of his conversations. Oh, thanks, Alexa. You've been a great help. So yeah, dude. I mean, this stuff, it just opens up a whole other can of worms.
It's bad enough they have, copious amounts of video of you on the can while you're looking at the internet.
Seriously, dude. Hopefully they come up with fucking smell-o-vision pretty soon, so when your FBI agent's watching you take a shit, you can make them smell it while he's at it, right?
Oh God, that's VR for you.
There you go. Sometime soon.
That's when porn's gonna be real weird.
Oh God. Yeah, that sounds horrible. Oh man. Yeah, dude. Internet of Things. Hopefully, we can disrupt this stuff with the more peer-to-peer networking. And see, this is not even including the stuff that we would talk about when we talk about like the net neutrality debate and stuff, and the telecom companies who have notoriously been monopolistic. I mean, AT&T had to get split up like several times. Verizon is like an offspring of an AT&T, split. And, those guys are in control of a lot of the data too. And I mean, all this stuff is ripe for disruption. And, Facebook is just such a big entity that it just consumes everything in its way, right? And anyone that comes up and wants to compete, like Instagram was, well, Facebook just offers them a deal that, you can't pass up. And Google, I mean, how many companies does Google own? They got to own like thousands of different companies by now. Like they acquire a new company like every fucking week.
But nothing's crossed over from like a retailer of the internet buying a grocery chain. I mean, this is unprecedented now.
Oh yeah, Amazon doing. Well, that's a straight play for the future, right? I mean, they're anticipating. They're anticipating a food crisis, huh, Jake? Well, food crisis, but also drone deliveries is going to be a big thing in the future. And Amazon is bargaining on basically delivering your groceries to you with a drone. I think that's the forward plan of it. And we're going to start seeing a lot more stuff like that, man, because, like with Internet of Things, the physical and the informational realm and the physical realm are kind of merging into one, and it's going to be weird.
Have you seen those smart glasses that allow you to kind of be in the internet while you're walking around?
Yeah, well, that's augmented reality, yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, yeah, it'll be...
you know what's going on now?
Street, everything will be encoded, so, I mean, there'll be links on everything, so you can see the history of a house you're looking at, or a car. I mean, it's just everything's going to be gridded.
The worst misuse of them is going on in Japan, because my sister is saying she's over there and she's all, you'll see these guys on the train they're obviously jerking off under their coat. Jesus. They're wearing those glasses.
Oh man, yeah. Well, with every new technological disruption, of course, there's going to be a whole new generation of sexual perversion that goes along with it.
Now that sounds kind of cool. That sounds kind of good. No, I'm just kidding.
She said it's the worst thing in the world, and like all the girls in the trains now are like all huddled together. They're all, ugh.
Shit, dude.
Wait, horrible. The glasses? What are the glasses doing? Like showing what they look like naked?
No, they're watching like porn or whatever while they're on the train.
All right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
They think they're being slick about it, but you know what I mean?
It seems very unsatisfying to me.
Yeah, it does.
That's why they're at a negative birth rate, dude. So,
look, this is part of the reason why we've got to embrace these innovations like peer-to-peer networking. We've been talking about censorship for a long time, years, right? We've witnessed major censorship in foreign countries where, like in Turkey, you remember when they were having those big protests and like they literally cut Twitter off and Facebook. They said, okay, Twitter's no longer accessible in this country. In Egypt, in multiple places, and it's always been a fear that one day if something were to, if there was major civil unrest in the United States, the government could say, all right, you know what, cut the internet off. These fuckers are organizing too much. They're having too many protests. It's too spontaneous. Cut it off. We've been concerned about that for a long time, and so this is why it's important to start looking at peer-to-peer decentralized networking. Internet 3.0, like Jake was saying, has to do with the VR and just the next leveling up on that front. But I think we should also try to incorporate, decentralizing the internet again and taking away the power from these monopolies who are dangerous on many fronts. It enables the government to censor. It enables corporate censorship. Enables them to control the narrative, control the flow of information. Part of what the brilliance of the internet was that it helped us break through all that shit. Back in the day when we were in our heyday with the anti-media, back before the algorithms decided they were going to crush our information, we could actually turn out anti-war movements. I mean, 2013, we stopped the invasion of Syria. Like, we did it by using Facebook. And over time, there's, all right, we can't let these guys do that stuff anymore. So without being too heavy-handed, we're going to tweak the algorithm just a little bit, make that kind of stuff less effective. And then it went into overdrive after Trump won the election when, you know, the Facebook really got turned against the establishment. Like, oh, nope, we can't let this happen. We gotta really cut it off this time. And now it's all you see is fucking CNN, Washington Post in your goddamn feed, and Fox News. So peer-to-peer networking and decentralized social media, that, as an activist, as a person that gives a shit about the future of not only our freedom and our rights, but just humanity in general, really, that is the direction we need to be looking in, is realizing the problems with the current way the internet is delivered to us and solving them with decentralization. And I can't tell you how many times we've talked about decentralization on this show, because decentralization is like one of our founding, core visionary principles. Decentralizing basically everything. I can't even think of one situation. I'm sure there's examples out there, but off the top of my head, I can't even think of one thing where it's like, oh no, centralize that, bro. Like, don't decentralize that. Like, make that shit more centralized. Like, it'll help it. Like, decentralization in politics, in the internet, in media, in states, in borders, in countries, in business, in money, it's better. Decentralization in all of those things is better, because when you centralize shit, you put too much power into one person or one group, and that's what exactly we're dealing with Facebook and Google, overly centralized the internet. And so when we're going to look to the future, it's not just, oh, fuck Facebook, we're going on to this new platform now, and it's called, whatever it's called, like, everyone's going there now, right? Let's just pretend that it's Twitter, right? Everyone's going to Twitter now. Fuck Facebook. Like, we're done with Facebook. It's Twitter now. We haven't. If that's the case, we haven't even solved the problem or even understood it.
I think it'll be decentralized. I think we're headed towards it being like, I think we'll be chipped, and I think it'll be kind of like RSS feeds, and whatever you subscribe to, it'll just naturally show up in your brain interface. And of course, there will be a company running that, and it'll probably be Facebook. But I think Facebook's going to have to decentralize a little bit to survive this. I think it wouldn't surprise me, actually, if that's the direction he went in a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I totally have lost my faith in Facebook and Zuckerberg.
Oh yeah. He'll do it. He'll only do it to adapt at this point. But there's too much power in this trend of decentralization that's coming up here, and it's hard to see how it won't be a positive.
Yeah, and you know what they're saying is that stuff like Ethereum is kind of like is going to be an integral part of Web 3.0, right? And where, you building on top of the internet, there's a layer of decentralized applications. And that's what a lot of these blockchain projects are about. Ethereum, most people think, oh yeah, Ethereum, it's like the second biggest one besides Bitcoin, and it's like a cryptocurrency. Ethereum is not a cryptocurrency, really. It's a platform for creating decentralized apps on top of the blockchain, which integrates with the internet. And it really is the future of what apps are going to be when we're going to start talking about censorship-proof, decentralized apps that can't be stopped by any government, any state, any corporation, right? ETH, which powers Ethereum, is a cryptocurrency, right? So Ethereum itself is a platform. ETH is the currency, and this is part of the Web 3.0 according to their vision of the future and stuff like that. And there's a bunch of other blockchain projects that are also taking on the same problem of decentralized applications. And so it's good. Think of it as like, you guys remember like LimeWire and those programs that we used to use to download music illegally and all that shit. I've never done that, by the way. NSA, if you're listening.
What do you mean, Facebook?
Okay, yeah, Facebook, if you're listening. I never downloaded illegal music. I always paid for it full price at the Amazon store. No, I'm just kidding. So it's like LimeWire, right? Where you're like hosting the data right there on your own computer. You know, and I don't know if maybe you guys never, maybe some of our listeners didn't look into the more technical aspects of LimeWire or whatever, but basically it wasn't just a place where you can go download free music and movies and shit, but also there's like a shared folder on your own hard drive where all your music that you download, it goes into that shared folder, and then anybody from around the world could go in and access that folder, and you're sharing that music with people on the other, you know, wherever they're at. They could go in when you download a song, you're not downloading it from LimeWire's cloud or LimeWire's server. You're downloading songs from other people who have that song on their shared folder on LimeWire on their computers. And that's the kind of idea behind decentralized applications, is that you're actually hosting the application on your own data privately, where no one can access anything unless you give them explicit access to it, right? Where you're in control of your data right now. When all the stuff that you have on like Facebook, all your images, your videos, all your posts and all that stuff, all that shit's up in Facebook's server or in their cloud somewhere, where if there was some major, if something happened, one day they could say, oh shit, bro, we lost all your data. All those pictures and all that shit you posted, you no longer have access to it. We lost it. Or there was the warehouse caught fire where the server was at, or, the backup failed. Plenty of excuses. The decentralized model, people are hosting the data on their own devices and then choosing to share it with people if they want to. And so these are the ideas that we need to be starting to pursue, because, like I said, if everyone just tomorrow said, you know what, we're leaving Facebook, we're all going to Twitter, guess what? We just empowered Twitter to be the next Facebook. That's all it would accomplish. We need to start looking a little deeper at, like, oh yeah, Facebook's bad, but Instagram's cool. It's like, oh dude, like, we got to look a little deeper than that. It's the entire underlying philosophy of the way these companies operate, and trying to centralize everything and monetize everything and turn every one of us into their product by fucking spying and knowing our deepest, most intimate secrets and fears and things that we like and all that stuff. It's fundamentally wrong, dude. Like, what Facebook and Google do is they hack us. They're hacking our brains to sell shit. They're finding out the weak points in our human nature, and they're using it to sell us and to sell us shit. And then they use that data and they sell your data to other companies. And then companies like the ones that helped Trump get elected use that shit to spread fear-mongering and make people hate Muslims and hate Mexicans and build walls and do a bunch of and bomb fucking the Middle East, turn into glass. Like, it's destructive shit that these guys are doing. It's fundamentally wrong. Like, I don't think Facebook even employs a single ethicist over there. I don't even think they even talk about ethics over there. They don't give two fucks about that. It's like, make money, get these motherfuckers hooked on likes and comments and shares, and fucking sell their data to the highest fucking bidder. I don't give a fuck who it is. I swear that's like the mindset over there at Facebook, dude, because that's the way it seems like they operate. They don't give two shit.
And I posted this on Steam, but it was kind of as a joke, but I really hope David Fincher does a follow-up film about Social Network, picking off from where it left off, and really tell the story of this kind of surveillance capitalism and what Facebook has turned into. Because I honestly think that's far more interesting and important than what he. Even though I love that film.
Which film are you talking about?
The Social Network.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't clarify that. Fincher should make a follow-up film about what Facebook has turned into. About how Zuckerberg turned into Big Brother, basically.
That would be amazing.
Or a Big Brother acolyte, at least.
Yeah. yeah, I guess that's enough about Facebook for now. Fuck them, and hope they die slow. What else we got here? Top story is about how the U.S. is just getting desperate on foreign policy, dude. Like, we're losing our grip, and China is basically like, there's all this, and I've mentioned this before, but I find it pretty funny that all this flack is being thrown at Russia. It's like, oh, Russia did this, and Russia's behind like every fucking blade of grass at this point, right? Russia supported Black Lives Matter. Russia supported the pipeline protesters. You know, Russia supported like anything that goes on where it's like, you know, oh, there's people disagreeing. It's like, oh, Russia's behind it, right? However, Russia's not in a good place right now. I mean, they're getting accused of killing that dude in England. We just blew up several hundred of their guys in Syria a couple of weeks ago. They just had a plane shot down in Syria that had like a bunch of like colonels and general, like 100 up to 100 like military officers, like high level guys, got blown up and all of them died. Russia's having trouble, and now of course Putin just won his re-election. Interesting thing to me is that China is actually just making move after move after move, dude. And when is the next one? Here, let me pull this up. China's about to start its oil futures, I guess you would call it. I'm trying to find the date here. I know it's in this damn article. Oh shit, I can't find it now. Alright, I can't find it. Anyway, China's starting to trade oil internationally. So basically the oil market can be traded internationally. It's kind of like the stock market or whatever. Starting in, is it May? I couldn't find the date. Anyway, it's in the very near future. This market's opening up. And it's almost like, you know, Trump just slapped tariffs on Europe. Europe slapped tariffs back on the U.S. Trump is threatening to put tariffs on Canada. Trump is threatening to put tariffs on Mexico. And while Trump is going around throwing around the tariff shit, China at the same exact time is cutting trade deals with Mexico. China's cutting trade deals with South America. China's cutting trade deals in Africa. China's cutting trade deals with Pakistan. Like literally everything where Trump is making missteps, China is actually the benefactor. And so I find it funny that like Russia is getting blamed. And maybe that's why that maybe this is all what these guys actually, maybe this is what China wanted. Maybe China was like, dude, Russia, we need you guys to just take one for the team. We need you to leave some footprints over there in the US, make it seem like shit's that you guys really messed it up. You know, let it trace back to you. You take the heat while we come in and sweep up, and we sweep it up from under. And that's kind of what's going on. Trump, you know, also the Chinese president just got reelected. Not only that, but they've changed the constitution where he can now remain in power for the rest of his life. And Trump loves the guy. He's like talks the highest of him, and even halfway jokingly, he was like, "Oh yeah, he's president for life now. You know, maybe one day we'll try that here in the U.S. or whatever." Not even criticizing or anything. China is taking over, dude. And I'm not trying to scare people about China, but this is just the reality. China is taking over. Thank you all for tuning in. Anti-Media Radio. Peace out.
This is live through the stereo. Go and let it blow through the stereo. I'ma let them know through the stereo. Yo, here we go through the stereo. This is live through the stereo. Go and let it blow through the stereo. I'ma let them know through the stereo. Yo, here we go through the stereo.